jumping onto this in the middle of their day. Thank you very much. My name is Christian Bell from Cynosure Australia, and today, we're going to be showing you the Picosure Pro via our virtual workshop. So guys, about a decade ago, Cynosure invented picosecond technology, and soon after we released the Picosure. It's gone on to be the most widely used picosecond laser in the industry. And here we are 10 years later, and we're releasing the Picosure Pro. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, what are the advantages? What are the differences, the improvements? And what can we show you that's going to have clinical significance with the Picosure Pro? And so I thought I'd enlist another pro, Dr. Isaac Wong, to help us understand the technology and really to connect you guys with a user of the technology who's done extremely well with the Picosure and now with the Picosure Pro. So welcome, Dr. Isaac Wong. How are you?
Hey, hi, Christian. Thanks for the invitation. Yeah, it's great for me to share my passion for this new technology called Picosure Pro. I think it has really is bringing a new dimension to our pico laser treatments.
Yep. In what way?
So basically, Picosure, I believe it was invented for a safe treatment outcome, safe yet efficacious. So I believe there was some safety measures that were instituted to prevent any hyperpigmentation or hypopigmentation, because the 755 nanometers laser is very strong and it is very melanin specific. So we can imagine in Asian skin, darker skin types, there's going to come a lot of problems if it wasn't controlled. So Cynosure was clever, so it had very fixed settings. But now, after 10 years of Picosure 755 nanometers technology, I think they know that we are all very mature users now, and we can actually harness the power of this Ferrari of lasers. So previously, they put like a handbrake on it, we can't remove the handbrake, but now the handbrake is removed and we are seeing the power of 755 picosecond laser. So Picosure Pro is blowing our minds now. And I think Dr. Oku of Japan and me and Dr. Tangetti of USA, we are really having a lot of fun with this device. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very lucky. You're one of a few doctors in the world who's got a Picosure Pro. We're absolutely launching it now. So
Yes.
The wider community are going to have access to the Picosure Pro very soon. How long have you had yours?
So I've had the Pro. I just had it for about a week or so.
Yeah.
I had been chasing for it since January when I heard that it was going to be available. And actually in November when I was in London, I met Jorge Pinedo, Cynosure's VP in London. I did a Potenza webinar, and he got me started on the interest about Picosure Pro. And then I've been asking for the device, and I think the APAC team has moved mountains to move a machine to me in Singapore. Yeah. And yeah, I'm just glad that I got to be one of the first in the world to offer this new technology to my patients in Singapore. And I think with many patients flying in soon from the region as well. Yeah. So about 1 month, but the Picosure, the original one, which I've been having for the last 5 years, and it has been an absolute workhorse. Yeah. So I think, Christian, this story has been told many times. I'm just going to tell you again the fast one. As you know, I'm a thread lift and a filler doctor. Previously, I had 0 laser patients. About 2018, and the distributor in Singapore got me to try out this Picosure because he told me, hey, Isaac, you're missing out on the patients who do the fillers with you, the threads with you. They are happy with their skin, they're lifting, but you know what? They go next door to the laser doctor, So why are you missing out on them? So I thought about it, and then, yeah, I think the distributor is right, like they are patients who just want to do a laser, get rid of that pigmentation, the acne scar, but they may not want a filler, a needle sticking in their face. So it makes sense. So it opened up a broader horizon for me. the pool of laser patients is immense. It is triple, 4 times, 5 times that of the injectable patients. So then it got me started. I really love Cynosure machines, and then I just went. I couldn't stop, Yeah. So now I have all the full suites of machines in my clinic. Yeah.
Excellent. So, just like the Picosure has evolved, it sounds like you've evolved too. So help us understand, when you were just an injectables doctor, what, why Picosure, and what significance did it have when you released it in your clinic?
Okay, so I realized that the power of this Picosure is number one is the wavelength. So it is the only one which is 755 nanometers as compared to the traditional 532 and or the traditional 1064. So maybe you can go to the chart about the melanin absorption.
Yep. This
Yeah, this
one?
one. Yeah. So if you look closely at the chart, you can see that for the 532, the green line, the melanin absorption is the black curve. And then the hemoglobin absorption is the red and then the blue one. So if you look at the green line, the absorption of the melanin coefficient is similar for the 532, is very close. So it's only like 2.5 times. So likely when you hit melanin with a 532 nanometers laser, you're going to get a lot of hemoglobin coming in as well. And then you take a look at the 1064 on the other side of the curve. So the melanin absorption is much lower here. And of course, the hemoglobin absorption is also lesser than the 532. So that ratio is about 16 times. So
Yeah.
that explains why, 1064 is quite a gold standard for a lot of lasers.
Yeah.
But if you look in the middle, the 755, so we can see that it is highly specific for melanin. It's quite high on the melanin curve, and it's quite low on the hemoglobin curve. So it is a 50 times ratio, meaning you are 50 times less likely to get blood absorbed by your laser as compared to a 1064, which is like 16 times, and
Yeah.
way better than a 532, which is only 2.5 times. You're going to get a lot of blood and bleeding for 532. Yeah.
And so this is the conclusion you came to when you were just an injectables doctor and you were looking for your first laser. This is how you determined the Picosure was the one.
Correct. Yeah. I wanted minimal side effects, but maximum melanin removal effects. Yeah.
And did you know anyone else? Did you have colleagues who were using it?
Yeah, I think at the time, I was not the first user of Picosure, unlike the Picosure Pro. So for Picosure wise, I think, about the 5th or 6th doctor.
Yeah.
So of course, it was still relatively unsaturated. People didn't know about the power of this 755 nanometers.
Yeah.
So I think it also helped that I was in the market at a time when Picosure wasn't that mature yet in the market.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how is it like in Australia now, like how many Picosure machines or are they available now? But I always find that, especially the Chinese patients, there's this Picosure brand name in China already, and it just goes to all the Chinese in the world, in Canada, in Singapore, Hong Kong, everywhere. If you have a Picosure, you definitely will get a good pool of Chinese patients. It is a well-known brand name. And if you hadn't, you just need to maybe invest a bit in the marketing as well, because the technology works fantastic. We haven't even gotten to the focus lens. So this is a revolution, this 755 nanometers. If you check around, nobody else has a 755 nanometers picosecond laser. This is the one and only one, because the technology cannot be copied. It is the only one. They took two NASA scientists to stabilize this technology of the 755 nanometers Alexandroid picosecond laser. So the Koreans have been trying for years. No, they couldn't do it. So I suspect this is a very lucky advantage that Cynosure has, that it can't be copied. So Cynosure has a big advantage on this.
Excellent. And so just as we start to get into the science of this and we start to look at the features of the Picosure Pro, I just wanted to highlight now that this is for you. This is for you guys who are out there watching, and you can interact with this session. So if you look along the top bar there, you'll see a chat bubble. the best thing you can do if you've got something on your mind, even from what we've talked about so far, is just type a question into the chat box and I'll thread it into the discussion. And that way we can address your specific questions throughout this session. Otherwise, it's just a webinar, right? Let's try and turn it into a workshop and get some questions going. I'm sure Isaac would love to hear from you. So please, if you've got anything to contribute along the way, hop into the chat box and type a question. So tell me, what is picosecond technology?
Okay, so as compared to the nanosecond technology, which is ref light and other Q switch NDX lasers, so picosecond technology harnesses a very short pulse duration and a very high peak power. So we get a minimal photothermal effect. We don't want the heat. We want the power and the shock wave to shatter the pigments so they can be absorbed by our skin and they can be expelled easily, because these large pigment molecules are being fragmented by this sudden shock wave. So I would liken it to a Picosure to a like a commando force. Like when you want to take down a country, you go in with commandos first to try to secure. You go for the president, and you deal minimal damage, not like Russia. Foolish, you go in with guns blazing, and after 2 weeks you still haven't captured Ukraine. So it's causing a lot of damage now in Russia and Ukraine. So we're going for a short, fast wave where we can capture what we want in a short time without collateral damage. So Picosure is what we want. We don't want to deal the collateral damage, which is the PIH to your patients.
Yeah. Okay. And so, in relation to nanosecond technology, tell us again the benefit here.
Yes, so the nanosecond technology, the pulse width is longer. So you can imagine the wave is not like the picosecond like this. It is like maybe like a wider curve. Okay. So you're getting a more heating effect, like a longer duration. So the skin gets a longer heating effect. And that is not wise for pigments like melasma and Horace nevus and things like that. We don't want the heat. So okay. Nanosecond technology was great before picosecond technology, and but now I think the latest tech will be picosecond technology for your patients.
And so you mean it's safer, or
yeah, it's safer, outcomes? More efficacious, less complications.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. And in terms of other types of lasers, where does the Pico sit? What are its specific advantages?
Okay, so due to the shorter pulse width, it gives a higher shock wave. So it is able to shatter by a photomechanical or a photoacoustic effect. So it's not depending on the heat. So therefore, it requires a lower energy level. So you can see the first point on the screen. Only half the fluence is required as compared to the standard Q switch NDX. So lesser energy delivered, but you get a more efficacious pigment removal result. So that is a very big safety advantage. And then if you look at the 755 nanometers, we have seen that it gives it absorbs very little hemoglobin. So we do not expect a lot of downtime. And thirdly, and the last point, there is a patented focus lens technology that is able to deliver 20 times the energy and in a fractionated mode where it spares about 60% of the skin. So we only deliver high energy to specific areas. And what this does is we want to create like laser-induced optical breakdowns in the epidermis, where it will form new collagen. So we can tell our patients there is a myth that they think that lasers will create damage and skin thinning. So I correct them. We have histology from Sinosure, more than 80 peer-reviewed papers on Picosure technology, where we can actually harness the focus lens to produce collagen, new collagen, and elastin in the skin. So new collagen, new elastin means a better skin, a firmer skin, a more healthy skin. So it's definitely not thinning the skin for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So skin rejuvenation, it sounds like from what you're talking about there. What else does this sort of technology treat?
So basically, it has won the all-in-one multi-function laser award for new beauty science of USA. It is a beauty magazine, very big one. So what it does is that it removes not only pigmentation, it makes your pores smaller. It gives you a brighter skin tone, as you can see in this lady. She has had 5 Picosure treatments, and you can see that the pigmentation around her eyes and the overall skin tone is looking much fairer on the right picture as compared to the left. So we are looking at making the patient look fairer, which is a plus in Asian patients. They love to have like bright, glowing, snow-like skin, and this is what we can deliver to them. Yeah.
Okay. And so presumably the cases we'll look at in this presentation were performed using the original Picosure,
Yes,
if
correct.
you've only had your Pro for a week.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
why don't we just start out by talking about the specs of the original, and
Yes.
then when we introduce the Pro, then we can put that in context against the new features. So what are some of the specs around the original Picosure?
Okay, so the specs are it has the 6 mm lens. It has flat handpieces, and it has the focus lens,
Yeah.
and it has the zoom lens. So the flat lens is like for a general toning, and then it has the 6 mm handpiece, a 8 mm handpiece, and a 10 mm handpiece. So the fluence is not able to be adjusted. So we will use a different handpiece for different skin types. So for me, I will use a 6 mm handpiece for Fitzpatrick type 1 to 3 skin types. And for type 4, I will use 8 mm handpiece. And then for 5 and 6, I will use a 10 mm handpiece. Because the handpiece, the bigger the spot size, the lower the fluence, which is the energy over the area divided by area. So for a smaller spot size, you get a higher energy level for Picosure.
Mm.
And a bigger spot size, you get a lower fluence, which is the energy per centimeter squared.
Okay.
So, and then the focus lens itself treats the acne scarring, the open pores, the skin rejuvenation. And then the zoom handpiece, we go targeted lesions like lentigo, Horace nevus, ABNOM, and all that. So, and also for tattoo removal. Yeah, I mean, it's not big in Singapore, but I suspect it's a bit bigger in Australia and the US for tattoo removal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. And so what about power on the original and also startup time?
Yes, the startup time is about 15 minutes, so it can be a bit long. So what I do is I will actually turn it on like at the start of the day, and I do not switch it off in between, even when I'm doing my fillers or threads. I just leave it on. The great thing is it has not broken down, so I'm quite impressed at the workhorse that Cynosure has made Picosure into. The technology is stable and the machine doesn't break down much. Because like when it breaks down, it's just a lot of hassle. Like we have 10 to 15 Picosure patients daily, and then like you just get disrupted, and then they took their leave, the time off to come to the clinic,
Yes.
and then like shit, like our top workhorse is not there, So
Yes.
we are very happy that it breaks down very little. And what's the other question? So there's a fixed fluence. So I think it was designed to keep it safe and simple. The settings that is already preset inside are very safe parameters. So what you'll get is consistent results every time if you follow the parameters that the KOLs have designed for you. So
Great.
I would say that if you're new to picosecond technology, Picosure is a great one to start with.
Yeah. And if you're new to Pico technology and you're looking at options, Dr. Wong's talked about the significance of the 755 in terms of melanin absorption. So could you just highlight that for us again? I've got a couple of slides here that might help to illustrate the difference between using the 755 and the 1064, which is the only wavelength on the other devices in this category. Can you give us more detail about how these wavelengths interact with the tissue and in terms of downtime and safety?
Okay, so Dr. Emil Tangeti of the US have done this paper So he compared the 755 versus the 1064 and the 532. So if you look at the graphic there, so we can see that 15 minutes post-treatment, we can see that the 1064 turns out more red than the 532 and the 755. And then 4 hours later, it still shows the similar result. The 1064 parts are still redder than the 532 and is still redder than our 755. So what we know is that it is the science that is translated now, because we saw the graph now just now. The coefficient is quite far away for the melanin against the hemoglobin for 755. So we can go higher fluence, higher peak power for 755, and we avoid the side effects as compared to 1064 and the 532. Again, this is another the picture. So we can see that this patient had a split phase treatment of 1064 and 755. So on the patient's right side face of the face, you can see that it is still very red, and then 24 hours after the treatment. And on the left face, you can see that it is hardly any kind of redness, maybe some pinkish look, which is highly acceptable by our patients 24 hours later.
Yeah.
So,
and so how important is this after effect, to your patients when they're coming in? Maybe they're coming in on their lunch breaks, or maybe they're just, very conservative and they don't want anyone to know they've had any treatments of any kind. How important is this, downtime related significance with the 755?
Yeah, so this gives my patients a very big advantage, because they do not want to look red, as if they had done like a fractional laser, a CO2 or something. So this kind of laser, Picosure, is able to give them the results of the skin rejuvenation, but without the downtime. So they are very happy, and the next day they just look a bit pinkish, like in a good way. And I would say that Picosure is the #1 laser where I've had patients messaging me and telling me how much they love it. So I never had that with a filler patient. I mean, maybe sometimes a filler and a thread patient maybe may message me and thank me, but the Picosure patients are really thankful for it. And then they really text me because they have tried other lasers. They get a crazy downtime. Is the slide on? My slide.
Yep.
The next one.
Yep.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. So this patient was so happy. Look at her picture. So the right picture, she did a Pico laser from another clinic, which is not Picosure, and then she did a Picosure with me, and this is about 1 day after, and she posted a review for me, and you can see that the Picosure laser treatment has not given her any downtime, and the other Pico laser she did was scary, and it scarred her for life. She vowed never to do it again. So this is not the kind of results you want for your patients if you want to get other Pico lasers. So the difference is the wavelength.
Yeah. And is the wavelength just related to downtime, or is there an actual benefit to the 755 in terms of a clinical outcome as well?
Yes. So the 755 nanometers is highly specific for melanin absorption. So it was very high, as you can see just now on the curve. So I would say that it is even more efficacious than the 1064. So I'm finding that the traditional 1064 devices, the Q switch NDX, they are losing out in terms of pigment removal effects as compared to Picosure. And with the focus lens, that is a patented inbuilt technology into the Picosure, there's really no competition for any other lasers compared to Picosure because of the skin rejuvenation, the collagen production, and the skin rejuvenation.
Cool. All right, so let's delve into the Picosure Pro. Let's introduce it. We're going to show you around the system, talk about the advantages and the improvements over the original. We've got some cool videos to show you too. And also, if you want, please don't be shy. Put a question into the chat box and let's try and make this interactive. I mean, I don't mind talking. Those of you who know me would know that about me, but or probably both of us actually, Dr. Wong. But but let's add a third dimension to this virtual workshop. Please throw a question in, anything. and I'll thread it into the discussion. You can type it into the chat box by clicking on the chat bubble on the top of the screen. All right. So how excited were you when this arrived at Artisan Clinic?
Yeah, I was super excited. Look at this. I'm actually pressing the fluence so I can adjust it from 0.33 to 0.6. So previously for Picosure, it is fixed. So we couldn't press the buttons. This gives me a big flexibility to increase the fluence for patients. I want a stronger result. So this has removed the handbrake for me, and I can really harness the power of Picosure to deliver very fast quality results in a short period of time. What I found was that the Picosure treatment time was about 10 to 15 minutes. I found that it was a bit long, you know, like, I mean, when you have like 15 laser patients a day, you know, and in between you get the fillers and the threads patients, it was a bit of an issue for me. And patients were getting fed up with waiting. So I had some complaints. So I'm just glad that with the Picosure Pro, I can I can put in the same amount of energy. Like let's say I needed like 2000 kilojoules of energy per person. I can deliver that faster in just 8 minutes to 9 minutes as compared to 15 minutes before. And that gives me a big advantage in terms of maximization of the clinician time, where it is very important for us to maximize our time. We only got 8 hours a day, you know. I don't want to be working in a clinic like for 16 hours a day. So no matter how lucrative that is, but it's just going to harm your health in the long term. So we want consistency, we want durability, and Picosure Pro delivers that nicely.
Interesting. So adjusting the fluence was not possible on the original.
Yes, it wasn't possible. That's why I said Picosure Pro is releasing the inbuilt handbrake that Cynosure has put in.
And so what is it? What is that like? Apart from treatment time, it seems like it reduces the treatment time as a result of having that option. Does it do anything else?
Yes. So with the higher fluence, so we can adjust up or down. So let's say, I mean, a patient, they may have different areas of the face. Some parts are darker and some parts are lighter. So we do not need to keep changing the handpieces to reduce the fluence or increase the fluence, you know. So we can just press a button and then in 2 seconds, the machine adjusts to the new energy levels. So it helps a lot. Like for example, I can treat the face and then I treat the neck and the same session. Sometimes even on the buttocks, you know, on the legs. So I can just adjust it very fast. And the higher energy that's allowed will also increase the efficacy and the pigment removal result, and also the skin revitalization result as well.
Excellent. Okay, so what about the actual look and feel of the device? What's changed in that regard?
Yes, so the user interface definitely looks nicer, and it looks very sleek. And when you adjust the buttons, the response time is much faster. So I feel like we are using like a latest Intel technology, double hard disk, things like that, you know, a double RAM, and then it's faster. And when we adjust the settings, it's very fast and it's very slick and cool. So the best thing is it is the only picosecond device FDA cleared to treat melasma, nevus of Ota, and Horis nevus. So previously, there are a lot of doctors who probably caused a lot of PIH in melasma patients, made the melasma worse, and then with their picosecond devices, Korean, Italian, whatever, and it caused a lot of bad word of mouth in Singapore. And they even went online to write blogs slamming picosecond devices for melasma. So I'm just glad that now we can just shut them up with a Picosure Pro FDA cleared for melasma pigments. So that's something I'm gonna start posting as well for Instagram. To educate patients who have been misled that picosecond devices cannot clear melasma. It is not true. Melasma needs a higher specificity for the melanin rather than the heat. So it needs a very high photomechanical and photoacoustic effect. So short pulse duration, high peak power, a short treatment time, highly melanin specific will be important for melasma pigment. So 755 nanometers for sure. Yeah. And
All right.
the higher fluence and then the faster treatment time, it really is invented to maximize the doctor's revenue, reputation, output, and the results that we give out to give a word of mouth, a good word of mouth to the patients around the area.
Yeah, excellent. And how common are these indications? You know, how often are you treating melasma and nevus
Every
of
day.
those? Yeah,
So
yeah,
asthma, unfortunately, it is a very difficult condition to treat, and we need to treat it as a overall condition where there are many factors. So we also add in oral tranexamic acid and hydroquinone, and also alternatively we have also like topical tranexamic acids and vitamin C.
yeah,
So the Picosure Pro is one more device or one more contributing way to clear melasma faster.
yeah.
And
Awesome.
especially for things like nevus aorta and horace nevus. Nevus aorta less, but the horace nevus are quite common in Singapore in Asian ladies. And of course, the usual lentigos and the sunspots and all those normal stuff. So cafe au lait spots. So all those are very common in Singapore, which is, I mean, we have more melanin in Asian skin and we form pigments easier. So I would say that having a Picosure is a no-brainer for a doctor with an Asian population of patients.
Yeah. And what if you had a mixed patient base and there was a lot of, you know, early skin
Caucasians
types?
and Westerners, yeah.
Yeah,
So
what
yeah, I agree. So I also have the a small percentage of Caucasians skin, and what I found was that for them, I really tune up the setting very high, and they really love it. They come in every month and they ask for it. They say, Dr. Wong, please whack me the strongest with your Picosure, and then my skin looks very nice, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, initially, I didn't treat much of them, so I was cautious, but I gave caution to the wind for this patient one time, and then she was loving it. She signed a package of 10 times. You know, she came back, she said, Dr. Wong, I really need your laser every month. You know,
Yeah.
I do a laser, I look great for 2 to 3 weeks. And then I really hate that 4th week where my skin is starting to get dull. And then I'm looking forward to seeing you again after 4 weeks
Great.
because we asked them to come back only every 4 weeks.
Great.
So yeah, so for Caucasian skin, it's a no-brainer as well. I mean, it's easier, and then you lesser chance of PIH. Just whack, and then I feel that Caucasian skin less melanin. You can really harness the power of the this collagen production, the elastin production. Yeah.
Great.
So you can treat the fine lines and wrinkles very well. So it's a no-brainer as well for Caucasian skin dominated patient pool. Yeah.
Whack me with your Picosure.
Yeah,
I'm going to get
whack
that on
me
a
the
t-shirt.
strongest, Dr. Wong.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. And so how important is the startup time on the device? You said the original was 15 minutes.
Yeah,
This
so now it's only
one's
10 minutes. So this is very important. I mean, like sometimes we want to rush in and then do a laser, you know, very fast. And then we just don't want to wait around for another 5 minutes or so. It is precious. Yeah. So the 10-minute, the 5-minute advantage that it startups is better as well. And then let's say if you wanted to switch it off in the middle of the day, that's fine too, because it's just 10 minutes to start up. Like I didn't have to overheat my machine. You know, my Picosure was on the whole day because I was afraid of starting it up. So now you can just turn it off and then you can just put it back on after 10 minutes. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So we talked about the fluence. How about the handpieces? Let's take a look at the handpieces on the Picosure Pro. And if you could, Dr. Wong, just point out any additions and the significance of those additions.
Okay, so we are seeing the 6mm handpiece, the 8mm handpiece, and the 10mm handpiece, and then we have the left side. The leftmost one is the zoom handpiece, which is 2 to 6mm for targeted lesions. So this is the targeted ones, the zoom handpiece. And then there's a new one, which is the 5mm handpiece, which can deliver even higher fluence, which is higher energy per centimeter squared. So I'm still waiting for that to arrive from the US. So it's not available, I mean, due to shipment issues. So that one, I would say that the 5mm handpiece will be great for Fitzpatrick type 1 to 3 skin types, where I'm really eager to try out on these patients. We also have some Chinese who are Fitzpatrick type 3, so I'm also eager to try out the 5mm handpiece on them and deliver that skin revitalization results. Yeah, so these are the different handpieces, and then the flat lens is the one that we've seen just now, the 6, the 8, and the 10. So it is the one that delivers energy evenly, and it shatters the pigment in a photoacoustic effect. This one, yeah, correct. So after a few treatments, you can see that Picosure Pro can clear the epidermal and dermal pigments without harming the surrounding skin because of the lower heat generated and the high melanin affinity of the 755. Yeah, so this is before after. So we can see this lady had 2 Picosure treatments. So you can see a lot of these discrete lentigo spots on her cheeks being removed. And we can see that the overall skin tone is fairer, radiant, and brighter as well. So a good plus to have a general skin brightening effect. So how does the platinum focus lens work is so this energy goes in a fractionated manner, and they cause a shock wave, and it delivers it breaks the epidermis into, it has little vacuoles inside the epidermis where new collagen will fill in the gap, and that revitalizes the skin, and the shock wave can go deeper. So next slide. Yeah, so the shock wave in the middle picture, you can see it goes deeper in, and it goes beyond the DEJ, where it can produce pressure waves to create inflammatory response in the dermis. So the pressure waves are harmless, so they do not cause any damage or heat. So they only stimulate a collagen building effect and a mild inflammatory response to signal to the cells in the dermis where the fibroblasts are to make new collagen and to make the skin revitalize.
Cool. And so when would you use a flat and when would you use a focus?
So for me, I actually use both for all patients where I want a flat toning effect. That reaches deeper because the 6mm and the 8mm handpiece can reach deeper into the skin. And then I will use the focus lens as the second step to revitalize the skin, to produce the laser-induced optical breakdowns, the vacuoles of the collagen in the epidermis. And that gives the patients a very smooth, glowing texture. They always tell us within 3 days that Dr. Wong, the Picosure is very nice. It makes my skin very smooth. I don't need much makeup. I just put a bit of sunblock and foundation. I'm out, and I really love the skin. My makeup is not cakey. So, and they tell their friends and sisters and moms. So this is the microscope of the LLOB generated by the focus lens. So you can see at the right topmost photo, so at 100 times magnification, so we can see that a little vacuole is seen in the epidermis. And then 24 hours later, you see like this black substance inside, and it's starting to form new collagen. And we can see that at 24 hours after the right lowermost photo, we can see that there is new inflammation happening in the dermis as well, even though the laser did not really target the dermis. So the focus lens is also a patented technology where I think that the other companies are unable to copy. So we can take a look at one treatment now. So the first one will be the flat handpiece. And this one, we use it for a general toning. So we will tone the whole face. And the great thing about Picosure Pro is that we can actually tune the laser beam, the guiding beam to a minimum. And when we put on the glasses, we actually don't see the beam at all. So because I was hearing my colleagues from Taiwan and Hong Kong, they were saying that some of their colleagues who have had a Picosure for a long time, or even any kind of picosecond lasers, they actually have some issues with the eyes after doing too much lasers, the glare or something like that. So I'm glad that Picosure Pro has again designed something new. And so at this point, you can see that actually it's still working. The skin is still red, but the glare is not there.
Yeah, fantastic. And so what are your patients saying about the procedure?
Yeah, so let's look at some reviews. So in this photo, a patient sent me a WhatsApp. So, hi, Dr. Wong, I just did before after pics on my face. Only 2 Pico laser pigment treatments. I did an eye filler with you. My skin improved so much and my dark circles are gone. I can't wait to receive my 3rd Pico and my 2nd eye filler from you. Thank you to your magic hands and Merry Christmas. So, wow.
Magic
Merry
hands.
Christmas to you. And then look at the other patient. Hi,
Yeah.
Dr. Wong. Just want to thank you for recommending Picosure to me. It is a good investment as I don't need to use much foundation or powder to cover up my face.
Yeah.
And my colleague compared my complexion to a celebrity. So make your patients feel good and they will keep coming back for more.
That's what it's all about, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, why don't we, or feel free to talk through these as well.
Yes. So these are the ones who did Picosure for acne scarring. So the leftmost one, of course, she said, oh, this is one of the first times in my life I have gone out without concealer to hide my acne scars. I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you. You know, 2 times of thank you. And then the middle review, this guy has done CO2, ECO2, Smart Sight, Infini, Viva RF, basically erbium laser, everything he has tried for his acne scars. And at the top, he says, your Picosure really works. I wasted so much money and time elsewhere.
Yeah.
And the rightmost one, this lady said, hey, Picosure is awesome. My scars are much lighter than before. Pore size are much smaller. My skin was red before, but now my skin tone is not red anymore. I just go out bare skin or with sunblock. So thank you so much. So
I mean,
fantastic reviews, and it's just great, to have happy patients. Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, when you think back to when you didn't have any devices at all and you were reviewing what to buy, you really, made the right call, and you must feel very reassured by listening to your patients' feedback and seeing these results. Let's take a look at a few. So what happened here?
So this patient is a guy who was bothered by multiple spots on his face, and his wife brought him in because his wife thought that he was looking much older than his age because of the age spots on his face. So we did a Picosure 2 times, and we removed almost 95% of all the pigments. And if you look at the right photo, you can see that the skin tone again is fairer and more radiant. Which is a justification to why I always use the flat lens and the focus lens as well. Because I think some doctors just use the zoom handpiece. I believe that you are missing out on the point of the flat lens and the focus lens. And then this lady had 2 Picosure treatments. Again, you can see that the spots on the cheeks are much better. The overall skin complexion is fantastic.
Looks like she enjoys wearing contact lenses as well.
Yeah, yes, to accompany her new skin.
That's right. And so in terms of brand, how often are you, hearing from patients that they're coming to see you because of the Picosure itself?
Yes, so Picosure itself is a very famous brand name. In China, it is called the Fan Bingbing laser. So if you Google, Fan Bingbing is a top actress in China. And the rumor was that she was caught by the paparazzi in Taiwan when Picosure just came out in 2012. So she said that she went there for laser, and that clinic has one of the first Picosures in the world. And that really exploded Picosure onto the China market. And if you have a Chinese patient, they definitely know about Picosure. And Picosure itself is a very renowned brand name already. And even look at this picture for acne scarring and active acne.
Yeah.
So many patients told me that they are afraid to treat active acne, or rather their doctors told them that. So with the picosecond laser, so we have proven that with Picosure, we can treat even active acne to make them more calm and to reduce them, and also to reduce the acne scarring that can happen if you do not treat the acne flare.
I mean,
So this lady, you can see on the right side, she's had, I think, 3 treatments of Picosure.
Yeah.
And you can see that the active acne is totally gone, and she just has some acne scarring, which we can treat further on.
Yeah.
And this man also as well, this gentleman on the left photo has a lot of acne vulgaris flares. And after 3 Picosure treatments, he's cleared. And again, we notice a nice sheen of skin tone, more even out and fairer. Yeah.
Yep.
And then the next lady here is also bothered by a lot of acne scarring on the lateral side of the face, and overall a darker skin tone. And she has been very happy with this Picosure treatment. After 3 sessions, we can see the lightening of the acne scarring. We can see that the PIH from the acne flare-ups are reduced at her temple. And we can see that the box scar and the rolling scars at her jawline are also markedly reduced.
Yeah.
So acne scar treatments is always a very personal treatment to the patients, because they have tried many lasers and they didn't work, and they caused a lot of downtime and side effects like skin erythema. So with the Picosure, we can see the photo of this lady on the top photo. She has multiple acne scarring, box scar. She has the ice pick ones, the rolling ones, basically everything. And after 4 sessions of Picosure, you can see that she is enjoying much better skin.
Yeah.
And she didn't have much downtime as well. So we are talking about minimal downtime, but maximum results for all kinds of skin conditions.
And I think we both know if you were to couple the Picosure with the Potenza or Vivace, you would be you would increase the efficacy,
definitely
fivefold.
It will increase for acne scars. Efficacy will increase by a lot more.
Yeah. Fantastic. And in terms of value in the additional features and benefits, I guess, of using a Pico Pro, the fluence and the shorter treatment times, and the other things we've discussed, can that relate to a higher cost to a patient, or are you charging the same with the Picosure Pro as you are with the original?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I am charging a little bit higher. So for Picosure, I'm charging about 350 to 380 Singapore dollars.
Yeah.
Per session. And for the Picosure Pro, I'm charging 500 Singapore dollars to 600 Singapore dollars per session.
Yeah.
So because we can deliver more energy, we can deliver faster results, and they may require lesser sessions to achieve the desired effects. So we do need to sort of inbuild that into the treatment cost as well. And I think new technology, people are willing to pay for that. So if you have heard, I think these are the common ATMs that we have in Australia. So, but have you heard of a new one coming out? So can you give it a click, Christian?
I will. This is very transparent of you, Dr. Wong. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So the new ATM is Picosure or Picosure Pro, if you whichever device that you choose to purchase. So we can see that when I've got the Picosure Pro, this is the Picosure, sorry. In January 19, I calculated figures. So we can see that it costs about 250,000 Singapore dollars. So look at January 19, and then until July 19th, I had already broke even for within 6 months on my investment. And if you click Christian, you might see some words coming out.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah. So the investment is 250,000 as Singapore dollars. But if you count the returns over this 18 months from January 19 to July 2020, I had already made 1 million. out of in 18 months. And I liken that to about a 16.7% yield per month.
Yeah.
And it is crazy. I mean, where else can you get such high yield for any kind of investment? So
yeah,
Picosure is definitely, so there is a paradox there. So people who believe that Picosure is too expensive, it's hard to break even, it's a paradox because you actually break even faster with a renowned brand name and consistent results.
yeah, yeah. And so, you know, what are patients saying when they come in and they have the treatments? What are they feeding back to you?
Yes, so they're telling me that they have had cheaper Pico lasers, for example, like Pico Discovery and some other Picos, but the result is not as good. So they may be cheaper, but they just wasted their time doing the laser, having their face red and a lot of red spots, which is the side effect of the 1064 lens. And they prefer the value of less downtime, and they can go back to work the next day, and they get very consistent skin revitalization results of the new collagen and elastin production. And it is definitely an ATM because my patients, you see my feedback from them, and then they also recommend their friends, their family, their sister, their mom, every other person in their life. They will tell them, hey, go for a Picosure. They're not going to tell them, hey, go for a filler into your cheek, but they will tell them, hey, go for a Picosure, man. It's just a 10-minute treatment and then no redness, and you get very good skin for 1 month. So Picosure or Picosure Pro would be a good addition to any laser clinic or even any aesthetic practice where you want to deliver good value to your patients for pigment removal, for acne scar removal, for skin revitalization results.
Yeah, excellent. And so, we're going to wrap up in a second. And so really this is your opportunity to throw any questions in. So I'll put on some music and we can, like hold music, elevator music, and we can kick back while you think about the questions you want to ask. And please type them into the chat box for the last few minutes of this session. Feel free to ask a question, please. I feel alone here today.
Yes, I feel alone too, Christian. We got a
Yeah.
very quiet crowd.
Yeah, it is a quiet crowd. I think we're giving them everything they want. I'm going to put it down to that. And so, all right, well, it looks like we'll wrap it up. So, I guess from my perspective, Dr. Wong, you've always been incredibly generous with your time. It's the middle of the day for you. You've probably got 16 patients, waiting in your waiting room and a practice manager who's leaning in the door right now telling you to
Yeah,
hurry
they're
up.
coming in soon. Yeah.
So look, I just wanted to say on behalf of myself and Cynosure Australia and all the people who are still here listening to this virtual workshop, and I know they're having a good time, and I know they've appreciated hearing from you today. On behalf of everyone, thank you very much for your time and your effort and your experience. You're a wonderful doctor and almost a really good friend now. Even though we've never met, I feel so close to you. So I look forward to having you here in Australia later this year for a live event. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Christian. I must say that the pleasure is mine because I believe that from my story, from a zero laser doctor to now, I am having the most number of Cynosure devices in Singapore. I think that that is a big learning point for everybody to take something out of this. Whether it's my marketing support or the way I market things, or whether it is using the right technology, or choosing the right patient pool, the right devices, and harnessing Cynosure's devices to the maximum. I really want to share my success story. And I just had a new branch. And if you follow my Instagram, you can see I spent $500,000 on the renovation. So we are getting ready for the China patients who may be coming soon after COVID is over. So we have survived the tough part of COVID, and now we need to. My advice to you is just go and get your Picosure and harness the great results for your patients. So it's not only a commercial tool, but you also feel very happy with the patients who give you great feedback, and you deliver value. So I think the best thing about an aesthetic physician is that we can connect with patients. We can give them a good friendly support I feel like a friendly advisor as well. We talk about their daily lives, their divorce, their boyfriends, and we talk about their bad bosses, and then we give them great results, and they keep coming back for more, So
yeah,
I'm just very happy that both me and my patients, we are all satisfied with what we are doing, happy about lives, and no side effects like other lasers. I mean, I used to have other lasers in other clinics, and it's just bad when you have inconsistent results and you have to deal with complications and lawyer letters and litigation. So it really sucks, It takes the energy out of your work, and it's draining, it's negative. With the Cynosure devices, I'm so happy. I don't have to deal with all this bullshit nonsense of unhappy patients. So I believe that investing in the right technology is paramount in our line where litigation is getting more and more. So you can feel free to WhatsApp me or to contact me on Instagram. I'm very happy to discuss with you as well. Oh, we got one question from Sophie, right, Christian?
Yep, sure. So Sophie's noticed high risk to have PIH with Picosure when treating melasma. Is Picosure Pro, is the Pro better in that way?
Yes, so therein lies my message now. If you remember the screen where I was pressing the buttons. On the Picosure Pro, the starting energy is actually lower than the Picosure. You can see. So that bar now at 0.33, this is lower than the fixed energy level for Picosure. So we can deal lesser energy as well for melasma patients. And we can press that turbo button on the top left corner. We can reduce the picosecond pulse duration. We make the pulse duration even shorter to have a higher peak photomechanical effect to shatter those melasma pigments with minimal heat. So PIH is definitely much less with the Picosure Pro, even for melasma as well. This requires even more training as well. So I'm sure Cynosure is going to organize more training for users of Picosure and Picosure Pro in Australia as well. Christian, maybe, training
Absolutely.
for the settings, with experienced Picosure doctors to treat melasma, to treat Horace nevus and tattoos and all that. So the great thing about Picosure Pro, it can go stronger, but it can also go lighter. So we get so much flexibility and customization. So it's really a fun tool for a very experienced laser doctor or just a very experienced physician where you like to not mess around, but you like to just experiment with settings. And you're able to adjust your theory of melasma, more sensitive to energy. So we need to tailor down the energy. And for Horace nevus, tattoos, we need a higher energy. We can blast it up, the energy, ramp up the energy. Caucasian skin, less melanin, so you can go ramp up the energy. Asian skin, melanin, Fitzpatrick type 4 to 6, lower the energy a bit, reduce the picosecond pulse duration. So there's so many possibilities that we can do. It just needs our thinking mind as a physician. So all these possibilities are now available to you when you get the Picosure Pro. So that's why you're seeing Dr. Emil Tegeti and Dr. Oku and me having so much fun with the Picosure Pro.
Yeah, cool. Well, the message for me is choose right, choose once, choose Picosure Pro, right?
Oh yeah, one more thing I must add. So I noticed a lot of doctors who buy the other Picos, in the end, they still get a Picosure. So I have one friend who bought he's got a Pico Discovery, and then recently he got a Picosure, and then he got a Picosure Pro. So there's many doctors in Singapore who collect picosecond lasers, and if Picosure wasn't their first one, they will have collected 2 or 3 picosecond lasers.
Yeah.
So that is a testament to the effect of Picosure. So if you choose the right one, you just need to pay once. But if you choose the wrong one, you just have to, in the end, you still have to get the right one at the end. So
we do it.
Don't waste
it's
your
human
money.
nature. We do it with everything we buy. we always evaluate the value cost ratio, and sometimes we make mistakes and we buy the
Yes.
cheaper option, and then we end up going back and having to buy the one we should have bought the second time round.
Yes,
So,
correct, Christian.
it's
Yeah,
just
you're
human
right.
nature. So hopefully sessions like this save people money.
Yeah,
And
I
give
would love
people,
to answer more questions if Christian,
yeah,
if your users have any more questions, you can WhatsApp me or text me on Instagram.
yeah.
Maybe they are shy, so feel free to contact me on Instagram and we can discuss. And if you have a Chinese patient pool, no brainer, go and get your Picosure now. It's gonna come in 1 or 2 months. You got a waiting time, so is that right, Christian? Is there a waiting time for Picosure in Australia?
There is a short wait list, so certainly orders now are getting the priority. But they're being released. They're being released in sets, and we'll have
Oh,
the
that's cool.
first
That's
batch
cool.
very
In
soon.
Singapore, we had to wait a long time, so at least 2 to 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Cool. Well, thank you, Dr. Wong.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Christian. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks everyone for joining us. I hope all your questions were answered. I'll email out a recording of this session for everyone. Thank you very much, Picosure Pro.